Hello, everybody. I'm pleased to let you know that I have managed to solve day 3 of the advent of code after my 45-minute attempt last night. I thought I was pretty close to getting to a solution. It turned out I was very close indeed. I had a little look at Reddit for some inspiration. I didn't look at any solutions, and I read a couple of people mentioning whitespace. Now, if you followed the video yesterday, which I don't blame you if you didn't, because it's effectively 45 minutes of me struggling to work out why something's not working when I feel like it should be working. It turns out that there are white spaces at the end of each line, and I thought I had a bit of a problem processing the end of the line, and it turns out that's something that was one of the problems that I was facing. I didn't realise that there was more than one problem at the time, but after removing the white spaces, which simply on line 18 here I've just used strip to remove the white space, it then actually produced a number, a total that was too high. And if you get a total that's too high, I think it's actually more difficult to then start troubleshooting what's wrong with it. But then it made me think, do you know what? I probably am processing the end of the line wrong still on that occasion. And then I realised that if I were to get to the end of a line and there was no dot on the end of the line or no symbol on the end of the line, so if it finished naturally with a number, there was actually nothing to run the process, which then checks whether or not a symbol was present and then adds it to my total. So all I did, which is a very lazy way of doing it, was take this whole else statement there, if I found a number, and I just put it at the end of my code for if I was processing a number, and I basically said if I'm at the end of a line, I will then do my found number check. And that actually, when I ran that, gave me the total of 521601, which was the correct answer. So I'm pretty happy that I managed to get that. Now, I thought just what I would do for a couple of minutes is just show you how I'm going to tidy this up a little bit. There's solutions 80 lines long with a couple of spaces in there. I've got a couple of prints in there that I don't really need, but I'm not very happy about repeating this line of code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just refactor this so that I am going to, it's just identical, isn't it? If I found the number, then I'm going to check if I've got a symbol and if it contains a symbol. So it's exactly the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to refactor that so that or this part here at least anyway. Why would I, it looks like I've nested that there, but I haven't nested that there. I don't know why. That would be something I've done. If I found the number, then it would do that. Oh, okay, so it seems to just do this regardless of whether I got to the end of the line. Let me indent this and see if this makes a difference. I'm not sure that it will, but I'm interested to see. Okay, let's run it. Okay, so that seems to work regardless of whether or not. I don't know. I'm going to nest it because it means that it won't run those checks if I haven't found a number. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take all of this out, and I am going to call a routine, and I'm just going to put that routine in there twice, so I don't have to have duplicate code. So let's go and produce my routine, and we'll call it like process end or something. Process end of number, maybe. Process end of number. And I'm going to probably need to put in a good few parameters to it, and I'm going to need to pass them back. Now, Python, if I recall correctly, doesn't really do passing data by reference or by value. I think everything is by value, apart from lists, if I remember rightly. I think they are references. I am, in each instance, passing, I'm going to pass a list there, but I'm also going to pass number found number contains a symbol, a total, num. I'm going to pass a lot in there, aren't I? So I'm basically going to pass the lot rather than make everything global. I can't, to be honest, this is kind of messy code and I can't quite remember what I was doing. So let's just take the values I can remember that I'll be putting in there. So found number, contains symbol. I'll give them the same names that they've got outside as well. I will also just take in my data. I think that's it, isn't it? Found number. Check for symbol is going to be a routine which is going to be called externally. I've got my data set. I have got contains symbol and total. I'm missing total, aren't I? So let's also put total in there. So values which it's going to feed back to, I'm going to write back to total. It looks like I'm going to write back to contains symbol. It looks like I'm going to write back to number. I'm going to write back to everything other than the data. So because I can't pass by reference these values, I think what I can do in Python is, if I remember rightly, you can return a function to more than one variable. So I can return a function can return more than one piece of data, and I believe what I do is I specify under return the values that I want to return in the order I want to return them in, and then I just put a list of variables that I want to store them in the same order, and we'll see what happens. So let's take this whole block of code, let's copy that into there, and I can probably refactor this further, but this is going to go some way to improving my piece of code. I'm going to just tidy this up a little bit by putting those onto the correct indentations, because Python's all about the indentation. Num goes in line there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to return, and I think I'm just going to return the things in the same order that I specified them in. Contains symbol, num, and total. So if I return those values, this here is now going to become these values, else these values is equal to process end of number. So I'm going to take the values found number, contains symbol, num, total, data. I'm going to do the function which is at the top, and I'm going to just assign them back to the values where I took them from. It's a bit of an ugly way of doing this in Python, if you ask me, but there we go. So I am going to, I don't think actually, I'm going to put data in there. I'm going to double check that there is not. I'm going to just copy that line. Oh, move myself. I don't want to move myself. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that line, and I'm going to undo because I just want to see that. No, that was correct. So I will replace that whole thing back again with that line, and I'm actually just going to replace this whole piece of code there with that line as well. So that's gone a little bit of a way towards improving that. I can just take that print out there as well. I don't think I've got any other interesting prints, or I've got a commented out block of code that I obviously don't need. And if I run that now, I've got index out of range. Why would that be the case? So it's called on line 71, so that's there. Check for symbol, data, part I, part J. Now, why would that be the case? So I've got that. Have I got that currently under the paste? I have. Let's quickly undo and just have a look and see what my piece of code was that I removed. Check for symbol, data, part I and part J. I wonder if I rename that to item. Oh, did I delete? Okay, did I accidentally delete the if? statement from there as well, which I obviously didn't want to do. I only want to run that if data part I is less than -1. That won't put it out of range. No, it still puts string index out of range. There's times like these when I wish I didn't delete that print. I've not deleted that print, so I've got that error basically happens on the first line. Data part I, part J. Aha! It's because I'm still referencing part I, part J up here on line 15, which is where it says I've got that error, and it's because I'm actually just using data now refers to just one single character rather than the index of the 2D array. So outside of the routine, I'm referring to the index of the array data, but confusingly, I've got a value data up there, so I'm just going to call it item. That'll make it different, make it a little bit easier to follow. But as you can see, after not having looked at this for a while, there we go. So we've got that to work again. It's a bit of a weird thing that Python does. I don't really like it, but it gives me a tidy solution. It does what I want it to do, and I've got it done in slightly fewer lines. So that is the day 3 tidied up, wrapped up for me. I literally had a little bit of a think about it this morning, had a quick look on Reddit for a bit of inspiration, went back to it, and I think it took me about 5 minutes to solve it, just this morning really quickly before I went to work. And there you go, that's me talking through it. So I'm going to have a go now at number 4. I've had a quick look at number 4. It looks a little bit easier. It looks like it's just maybe to do with intersections of 2 different arrays. So hopefully I can remember how to do that in Python actually. If not, I guess I can just loop through both and I'll work out a way of doing it. And I will hopefully see you there. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.